Had a session about a week ago, I reckon, where we had this weird condition where the bumps were just a little bit of an awkward angle to the wind, and it reminded me of how much the bumps will affect your ability to get onto foil. So I want to use this video as a way to give you guys a sign if you're early on to learn to ride both stances, regular and goofy, or if you're deep into your wing foiling journey, to take the medicine, bite the bullet, and start learning to ride your weaker stance as well. This video is exactly what I'm talking about. You got the bumps coming from a certain direction, kind of from right to left of screen. The wind's kind of coming from over my shoulder, and I've specifically chosen to pump onto foil going towards the beach because the bumps were lining up with the wind better in this direction. So as I'm pumping in that powered up zone, that powered up angle, I'm lining up perfectly with the bumps. Unfortunately, I was close to shore and it was getting shallow and I had to rush into a jibe. I wasn't ready and I crashed the jibe. But it clearly shows how much bumps will help you getting onto foil. This may sound obvious, but I think it's a really important one to point out because the amount of people that are out in the water wondering how I get onto foil in those marginal conditions, those 10, 12 knots, you'll be surprised how much even the little tiny wind bumps can help encourage you onto foil. I'll make a point of, obviously not in this video, but making enough space in a certain direction to give me a runway to then pump onto foil in the more favorable direction. And the concept I wanted to explain alongside this video was the idea of skill acquisition. I don't want to get too philosophical, but I wanted to just give the example of when you're learning to wing foil, you're gaining muscle memory and you're gaining experience in each of the skills that you choose to practice. So if you choose to always ride around regular stance, your regular stance is increasing in skill level and your goofy is staying exactly here. If you force yourself to get better at the same time by practicing both, then you're not gonna get your regular stance all the way to here as quickly, but you'll build a lot of skill in both directions, which you can then take the rewards of in the future by being able to get on foil in lighter and more marginal conditions. And if you're a more intermediate advanced wing foiler that's only ever ridden either regular or goofy and not both, then you are in this situation where your strong stance is up here, your weak stance is all the way down here, and you're gonna miss out on those days where you can get onto those bumps and get onto foil. I urge you to bite the bullet and start working on that weaker stance, getting it back to that more experienced level, or getting it up to that same experience level as your strong stance, because it's going to help you switch feet, get through maneuvers more consistently, because at some point you have to land in your weaker stance, whether it's through attack or switching feet before attack, or the same vice versa for jibing, for carving 360s, for a whole bunch of things. So again, for beginners, take the humble pie, learn both stances early on, and you'll definitely thank yourself in the future for doing so. Intermediate, advanced, same thing. Like, I know you've got that experience in your strong stance. Come back to your weaker stance, make the most of it. It will improve your wing foiling so much. And it will also help significantly if you want to get into SUP downwind or into parrowing, because you'll be one of those people that can actually ride both directions, and as your legs start to lose endurance, you get to just switch feet and give your legs a break by swapping over the dominant leg. You should also aim for sort of balanced loading through your legs when you're pumping, but we're all human, right? So this is another example of what I'm talking about. Depending on the day, your wind direction will be a certain direction. So this day, the bumps weren't perfectly lining up. Actually, no, sorry, I'm wrong. They were lining up nicely. You can see I've kind of pumped down the waves. I use the waves to get the board onto the foil. Especially with this downwind board, it can grab the back of the board and really push the board through the water. You take advantage of that wave to encourage you on. And then as you get onto foil, you can then cross into your upwind angle and start going across the waves again. So it's a really, really good technique. I don't see enough people using it, hence the video. Just a quick one for the day, but make sure you try practicing both of your stances and really work on your weak stance. Get it to the point where you can work with it. I also found that in learning parrowing, I started to fall into this again, where I had a strong stance. I didn't want to go and practice my weak stance. But I caught myself in that situation and I forced myself to practice my weak stance. And now even with the parrowing, I can pump my board, I can stow away in both directions and really make the most of whatever conditions I have on the day, because you're not always going to be able to pump onto foil. You're not always going to get the waves lining up perfectly with your strong stand. So it's super important to practice both. Sound like a broken record. Anyway, make sure you try this out, and if you like this video, I think you'll like these ones, so go check them out as well.